bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Army University Bill Establishing Act 2020 and for related matters 2025, SB 833. Those in favor that clauses 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stand pass of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The leader of the Senate. That this plenary memorandum stands passed of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the long title stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The leader of Senate.
Very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate now reverse to plenary to...
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Report. Nigerian Army University Bill Establishment Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 833. Number of clauses 5. Interpretation nil. Short title clause 5 page 2. Schedule nil, explanatory memorandum 2, long title 1. Is it what transpire in the committee of the whole? The clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Army University Establishment Act and for related matters 2023-2025 SB 833, third reading. Come, where do you...
Come, see. A bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Army University Establishment Act and for related matters 2025 SB 833. Let me processing this bill and the industry they put in crafting the entire report is something that they should be commended for. They've done a wonderful job, and we urge, I on behalf of the Senate urge them to continue the good work that they are doing for the Senate in particular and Nigeria in general. The leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President, and very distinguished colleagues. The fifth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of persons listed on the order paper for appointment as commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission. The Honorable Ida Hagbon Williams Omorege, Commissioner representing Edo Ekiti and Ondo State, and 2, Professor Ngbea Gabriel, Commissioner representing Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau State. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Cyril Oluwole Fashui, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Senator Cyril Oluwole Fashui, Chairman of the committee, presentation and
represent the good, decent, and hardworking people of Ekiti North. I'm an Ekiti man. This afternoon, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand to move a motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Establishment and Public Service on the confirmation of the nomination of the following persons for appointment as commissioners of Federal Civil Service, and also to be able to lay the report before going through the report. I mean, to lay the report, sir. Number 1, Honorable Idagbon Williams Omorege, Commissioner representing Edo, Ekiti, Nasarawa, and Plateau State. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Joel Thomas, you may second the motion.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Joel Thomas. I represent the good people of Delta South Neutral District. By my friend and brother, distinguished Senator Cyril Fasui, I so second. Thank you, sir.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Senator Anderson Shomali.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I had raised some concerns arising from complaints and petitions that borders on corrupt practices on the part of the nominee from Edo State, Mr. Idayabo.
Procedural matter.
Just 1 second. Leader.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, I rise as the leader of the Senate to say that as a matter of procedure, this report will have to be laid and presented before there can be any observation or discussion.
Yes, the leader, thank you for guiding the Senate. You said the appropriate thing. Besides that, Senator Anderson Shomali, we discussed with the Senate President before he left that your feelings should be assuaged by stepping down that. So when we get there, please take note, Senator Cyril. Right? But what leader said is correct. So you may continue. What?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I stand before you to make my presentation. Report of the Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters on the screening and confirmation by the Senate of the presidential nominees for appointment as commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission. Introduction. The Senate at its plenary sitting of Wednesday, 8 October 2025, considered the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for the confirmation of the nominees for appointment as commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission. The request was subsequently referred to the Committee on Establishment and Public Service on the 9th of October 2020. Under Section 15, there shall be established for the Federation of the following bodies, namely the Federal Civil Service Commission. The composition, appointment, and tenure of Federal Civil Service Commission members are provided in the third schedule, Part I, Paragraph 10 and 11 of the Constitution. Paragraph 10, subsection A states that the Federal Civil Service Commission shall comprise the following members: a chairman, not more than 15 other members, who shall, in the opinion of the President, be persons of unquestionable integrity and sound political judgment. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Commissioner for second term, representing Edo, Ekiti, and Ondo states. Number 2, Professor Ngbia Gabriel, Commissioner, representing Benue, Nasarawa, and the 2 states. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is my pleasure to go to page observations and findings. Oh, sorry. Section 5, general observation and findings. The Committee on Establishment and Public Service undertook a comprehensive screening exercise for the 2 presidential nominees as commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission. After careful deliberations, the committee observed that 1, both nominees satisfy the constitutional and Senate standing orders requirements. 2, they possess extensive experience, qualifications, and competencies relevant to the Federal Civil Service Commission. 3, their track records demonstrate fitness and suitability for the office. Number 4, they answered questions with clarity and demonstrated strong understanding of public service administration. Number 5, Mr. President, before, during, and after, no petition were filed against any of the nominees. Number 5, I repeat, before, during, and after, no petitions were filed against any of the nominees. Recommendation. Based on its findings, the committee recommends that the Senate confirm the following nominees for appointment as commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission, having been found satisfactory in their credentials. The Senate do confirm the nominations of the underlisted persons as commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission. 1, Omorege, Idaagbon, Ekiti, and Ondo states. Yes, Ondo, Ekiti, Edo, and Ondo states. Number 2, Professor Ngbia Gabriel, Commissioner for a first term, representing Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau states. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to the Senate for the privilege to serve. Thank you.
Senator Adam Shomole, you say you have
Thank you, Mr. President. I had drawn the attention of the chairman of this committee to the fact that the first name on that list representing Edo, Ondo, and Ekiti is from Edo State. I had the privilege and honor of nominating him 5 years ago. but his conduct as a federal commissioner when it comes to recruitment and promotion, a lot of issues of corruption and other malpractices were raised. And I draw the chairman's attention to this. So I believe, sir, that part of our business here, the reason the president asked us to screen people, even as they have been there before, is because in between your first appointment and when you exit, your conduct determines, and the president is not in a position to know all of the things that deal with the Senate, that the nomination of Harry Idayabo or Moregbe, that it be deferred because we have proposed a replacement which will come from the same senatorial zone, so there is no question of upsetting any balance. And I'll be most...
Senator Sani Musa.
Parliamentary actions are always guided by precedents. The reason why Mr. President usually sends for confirmation is that we represent our various senatorial districts, and by extension we represent Nigerians. So at any move which I have seen previously, where if a nominee is sent for screening and it happens that the senator is not supporting that nomination, that I will propose that this should be stepped down for further legislation.
Mr. President, the parliamentary practice, particularly in this chamber, is that if there is any nomination from the office of the president coming here, normally if two senators are opposed to that nomination stand withdrawn. I will therefore suggest that since Senator Adams Oshomole happens to come from the same senatorial district with the nominee, and since the nominee is representing not only Edo State, but a group of 3 other states, and he is the one that comes from his own senatorial district, and he raised very weighty allegations, I'm of the opinion that we should step down the confirmation for further consultation. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, let's not flog this matter overflowed on here. That once there's a nominee, the nominee is stepped down for further. President left here. He also advised that I should advise that his confirmation should be stepped down for further consultation. We are not saying it's over, but we should explore and move forward and see how the matter could be resolved. It's a tradition here. Anybody who has been here for more than 4 years knows this. I mean, it's a tradition. So for that reason, is it not the view of the state that we should step it down? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The tradition.
He said 2 senators. He was the only person who said.
Recommendation for the second one. Yeah, the leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate now resolve to a committee of the whole for further consideration of this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate do resolve to committee of the whole for further consideration. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Professor Professor Gabriel for appointment as a commissioner representing Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau States in the Federal Civil Service Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The leader of the Senate. The leader of the Senate, can you please move the motion for us to revert to the plenary to report progress? Tarakin Kwara.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move.
Minority leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I second the motion that the Senate reverts back to plenary so chair can report progress.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Report. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole for appointment as commissioners of the Federal Civil Service Commission, FCSC, approved the nomination of Professor Gabriel, Commissioner representing Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau, as Commissioner of the Federal Civil Service Commission, FCSC. This is a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole. They are not saying yes now. Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Gabriel for appointment as a commissioner representing Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau States in the Federal Civil Service Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Professor Gabriel Gabriel is hereby confirmed in the Federal Civil Service. Professor Gabriel, for this wonderful appointment, and we hope that he brings his experience, his wisdom, his intellect to bear in the performance of his duty as a commissioner representing Benue, Nasarawa, and Plateau States in the Federal Civil Service Commission, and that he will work in line with the interests of our nation, Nigeria. Once again, congratulations to Professor Gabriel. The leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the sixth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs on the confirmation of the nomination by most distinguished Senator Oyeso Allwell Iheacho, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Well, Cho, Chairman Senate Committee on Federal Character. The floor is yielded to you to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of your report. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. My colleagues, I am Senator Orwell Onyeso, representing Rivers East. I chair the Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs. I rise to move that the report of the Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs on the screening of Victor EKG for confirmation as a commissioner in the Federal Character Commission, alongside his resume and security clearance, be laid and presented.
Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan, you are invited to second the motion. Senator Natasha, you are invited to second the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan.
You can second the motion moved by...
Second the motion moved by Senator Orwell.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Those in favor of the motion moved by Senator Orwell and seconded by Senator Natasha, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed.
Mr. President, Victor EKG is a replacement for Mr. Obinna Oriako, earlier confirmed by the Senate on Thursday, 27th November 2025 from Abia State. His CV and supporting documents, as well as relevant security clearance, accompanied by an acknowledgement from his documents at the Code of Conduct Bureau, we are all in order. Committee accredited the nominee with further sufficient clarifications were made regarding his qualifications, experience, stability, competence, and ability and the responsibility to promote, monitor, and enforce compliance with the principles of the event and related mandates. For want of time, by this exercise, the committee observed that the nominee possesses personal traits, academic competence, and professional experience required to serve and be appointed as a commissioner in the Federal Character Commission. Finally, the committee acknowledges Mr. President and the leadership of the Senate for the opportunity given to us to serve in this capacity, and accordingly recommends that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Victor EKG as a commissioner in the Federal Character Commission. The committee so recommends. Thank you, Mr. President.
Without much ado, the deputy leader sitting for the leader move a motion for the Senate to Move to Committee of the Whole to consider report. That the Senate resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider report. Move.
Mr. President, I move a motion that we resolve to Committee of Whole to consider the report.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, motion seconded as moved. I to second.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. With the Senate, approve the nomination of Victor Ikeji for appointment as a Commissioner of the Federal Character Commission. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The leader, can you please move that the Senate revert back to plenary to report progress?
Mr. President, I move a motion that we revert back to plenary for you to report progress.
Minority Leader, can you second the motion?
Mr. President, I second that the Senate revert back to plenary so that the chair can report progress.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Okay. Keep. Report. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as Commissioner of the Federal Character Commission, FCC, and approved the nomination in the Committee of the Whole. Of Victor Ikeji for appointment as a commissioner of the Federal Character Commission. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Victor Ikeji is hereby confirmed as a commissioner of the Federal Character Commission. Let me congratulate on behalf of the Senate Mr. Victor Ikeji for his appointment as a commissioner in the Federal Character Commission, FCC, and we hope that he'll give his best for the service of our nation through this esteemed commission, that he will uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the rules and guidelines of operations in the Commission, and shall act in the best interest of our people. Once again, congratulations to Mr. Victor Ikeji.
Actually working with the supplementary order paper, I want to say that the business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in my name on the 2024 Appropriation Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025 SB 985. I believe there are copies. Okay. Mr. President,
Okay, re- clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal and enact Amendment Bill 2024 and 2025 Appropriation Bill, first reading.
A bill for an act to repeal and reenact 2024 Appropriation Bill 2025 SB 985, first reading taken. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the order of the day is the second reading of a bill standing in the name of the Senate leader on the 2024-2025 Appropriation Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025, SB 985. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, first, I move that the Senate do suspend its Rule 78-1 in order to read the bill for a second time. And in support of my motion for second reading, Mr. President, I seek your permission to present my lead debate.
First reading of second one too, before we go for the debate. Leader, I think, okay, yes, the title of the bill as you first read was correct. So you can now move on with the lead debate. You can move on. I think it was done correctly. It was referred to a 2024 Appropriation Act repeal and enactment, B 2025 SB 985. I think that's what you read. Yeah, it's correct.
Even before I read this lead debate, will be for the Senate to actually, in referring this to the Senate Committee on Appropriation, to mandate the committee to ensure that they have their sitting by 10 a.m. tomorrow, so that both the Honorable Minister of Budget, the DG Budget, Finance Minister, will be done before this bill does not go beyond just discussing the general principles. But the committee should saddle itself with the responsibility of meeting with all the critical stakeholders tomorrow morning. And having said that, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me say I'm rising to lead the debate on a bill for an act to repeal and reenact the 2024 Appropriation Act and to make consequential provisions for a more effective, transparent, and accountable public finance management framework. Mr. President, this bill seeks the authority of the National Assembly to issue from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 43 trillion 561 billion 41,744,507 naira only. And to also emphasize that the amount the figure that I just read is the total sum when you add lines 1, 2, 3, and 4 together. That is the total sum, not 54, as was written here. Distinguished colleagues, the essence of this bill is not merely procedural, it is structural and reform-driven. It seeks to repeal and reenact the existing appropriation framework, which was extended up to the 31st day of December this year, in order to bring an end to the unhealthy practice of running multiple budget cycles concurrently. This practice has historically undermined budget clarity, weakened fiscal discipline, and blurred accountability across ministries, departments, and agencies. It is fundamental to the stability of governance, fiscal discipline, and national security. The bill seeks to provide a clear, grounded, and orderly appropriation mechanism that enables government to lawfully consolidate, regularize, and appropriate expenditures that are critical, time-sensitive, and unavoidable, particularly those undertaken in response to emergency exigencies. Distinguished colleagues, our nation continues to confront complex challenges: security threats, humanitarian emergencies, economic shocks, and urgent developmental needs, which often require swift government intervention. This bill recognizes that reality, while firmly anchoring such interventions within the constitutional authority of the National Assembly. It therefore strikes a careful balance between responsiveness and responsibility, ensuring that urgent public spending does not erode legislative oversight of fiscal prudence. Mr. President, the bill reinforces the collective well-being of Nigerians by ensuring that expenditures aimed at safeguarding national security, social stability, and economic continuity are not left in legal or administrative uncertainty. At the same time, it strengthens the pillars of fiscal discipline, accountability, and prudent public financial management, which this Senate has consistently upheld. Critical safeguards, including a requirement that appropriated funds are released and applied strictly for the purposes specified in the schedules approved by the National Assembly, a clear provision that environment may only be effected with the prior approval of the National Assembly, thereby preventing unilateral budgetary reallocations. Clearly defined conditions for corrections or corrigenda, limited strictly to genuine errors that may otherwise hinder effective implementation. Mandatory separate recording of excess revenue with expenditure thereof, subject to explicit approval of the National Assembly. Enhanced due process compliance, transparency, and periodic reporting on fund releases, expenditures, and revenues or external assistance. Mr. President, these provisions collectively reaffirm the power of the purse vested in the legislature and ensure that executive flexibility does not translate into fiscal opacity or abuse. They deepen trust in public finance administration and reassure Nigerians that every naira appropriated is traceable, justified, and lawfully spent. Distinguished colleagues, the repeal and reenactment of the Appropriation Act as proposed, therefore, represents a necessary legislative intervention to consolidate past actions, clarify ambiguities, and provide a stronger statutory foundation for present and future budget implementation. It is my firm conviction that this bill reflects our shared commitment to good governance, transparency, and national interest above all else. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, while it is my hope that this bill will receive the expeditious consideration it deserves, I hereby urge this hallowed chamber to support its passage in the overriding interest of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I so move.
If there's no one that wants to speak, we go Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to authorize the issuance from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation the total sum of 43 trillion 561 billion 41 million 744,507 naira only, of which 1 trillion 742 billion 786 million 748,140.
Wait. Those in favor that the bill be read second time, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed. Proceed to read.
And 40.
Start.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an 43 trillion 541 billion 441 million 744,507 naira only, of which 1 trillion 742 billion 786 million 788,150 naira only is for statutory transfer. 8 trillion 270 billion 960 million 660,831 naira only is for debt service. 7 trillion 268 billion 513,322 trillion 278 billion 780 million 968,673 naira only is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025, SB 985, second reading.
A bill for an act to authorize that total the sum of 43 trillion 561 billion 41 billion 788,150 naira only is for statutory transfers. 8 trillion 270 billion 960 million 606,800 513,383 naira only is for recurrent non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 22 trillion 278 billion 780 million 968,673 naira only is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2025. Second reading taken. The bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriation and to report back within 2 days. The Leader of the Senate. So the Chairman's Committee on Appropriations, you are to work very hard as usual. We know you committed to put forward to you to use your expertise and experience and wisdom to make sure that you deal with this bill in a manner that will be able to present your report in the next 2 days. And we are sure, based on your pedigree, that you can do this work put forward to you. It's on this note that I read the announcement from the Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriations. He said, there will be a meeting of the Senate Committee on Appropriations as scheduled below. Date Thursday, 18th day of December 2025. Time immediately after plenary. Venue, room 224, Senate building. Please endeavor to attend. He said immediately after plenary. You should change to immediately before plenary. Before plenary. Do I have the permission of the chairman to read as such? Because you wrote and signed, otherwise I will not be. So 10 a.m. prompt tomorrow. 10 a.m. Thursday, 18th day of December 2025. Venue, room 224, Senate building. Please endeavor to attend. Senator Solomon Adiola Olamilekon, Chairman. CON, FCA. If there are
Mr. President, it's for you to now go ahead and adjourn. I want to say that we have come to the
Senate, this August Senate, is held by November 2025 at 11 a.m. prompt. There was it.